Sports is sponsored by Strong.
With 2 minutes, 14 seconds left in the game and trailing 27-21, New Mexico inserted backup quarterback Austin Apodaca, and he delivered. Lobos marched 70 yards on 10 plays. Apodaca's 6th completion on the drive, 28 yards to Damian Gamblin, was the game winner. 28-yard line. Lobos down 6. Apodaca, don't fake. As he delivered, touchdown. Touchdown, New Mexico. Damian Gamblin. They changed quarterbacks late in this game.
Yes.
They put the thrower.
Yeah, number 10.
Number 10.
Yes, sir.
And not the runner. I thought maybe you guys bring the blitz and put the heat on them.
It was weird, because our whole defensive line, and the outside backers really thought that that's what we were going to do. Actually practicing on having number 10 come in, and that's what we did. And, whatever happened, it happens. I guess we just did a 3-man rush, and that kind of gave him a little pressure, but then it wasn't good enough, so we just got to try harder.
How frustrating was that in the locker room afterward?
Frustrating. Right after that play, people on the sideline, yelling, it's my fault. They never blame it on anybody else, but we always blame it on ourselves, and that's what we did coming off of the sideline. So it was really hard on not only us, but on everybody.
Being the first year in this program or in this defense, the kids are just starting to figure out exactly what we want done. And you think by this point in the game or this point in the year that we would be really rolling. But, yeah, I don't have any regrets in the calls or any of that going into that last drive. Probably, if anything, I probably should have blitzed him a couple more times and seen if we could get after him.
That opportunity for UNM came right after Hawaii's Rigo Sanchez yanked this 22-yard field goal attempt. Only his second miss of the season, the first three-pointer missed against New Mexico in 2015. That missed field goal is not without controversy. We'll get to that. I hope you're all having a pleasant evening. I'm Robert Kekaula, and this is Inside Access here in OC Sports. In the land of almost everything colored adobe drab. Heartbreaking loss for the Rainbow Warriors, dropping its 6th straight to New Mexico. A 100-yard rusher, 100-yard receiver, almost 200-yard passer, and points on the road for the first time this season. Not enough.
We just got too big-headed in halftime, seeing what the score was, thinking that they were going to lay down for us. And just was messing up in the second half, gave the game away. It's a loss. We should have won the game.
Ikaiko Wuzi started at quarterback for injured Max Wittig, and Hawaii opened the game with a 12-play, 75-yard drive. Ikaiko Wuzi, straight handoff, Paul Harris, touchdown. Hawaii scores on their opening drive.
We came out with high intensity. We definitely executed. The line up front definitely, dominated. And also, they did a good job of just opening holes for us. And it definitely felt good to come out, right away and put some points on the board.
The thing that we talked about before the game was just play within yourself, let the game come to him, and he started enough college football games to know what it feels like. And we just said, hey, protect the ball, and let's just make good decisions. And I think he played. He played as good a football as he's played since he's been here.
UH was rolling going into the break, leading 24-14 at the half, after Woolsey connected with Dylan Colley for Colley's first college touchdown. From shotgun, Ikaiko Woolsey goes for the home run, and he hits it. Touchdown, Dylan Colley, 27 yards.
The O-line did a good job of giving me time tonight to deliver the ball. And, Dylan, he's been running great routes all year. He's been a baller since he stepped on campus. I got full belief in him, and he went up and made a great catch. And, definitely brought in his first collegiate touchdown. So I'm happy he got that.
415 yards total offense to 392 in favor of Hawaii, including 232 yards rushing, 195 yards passing for both teams. Time of possession, almost equal. 2 turnovers each. Both teams over 55% on third down. Oh, and we will get back to that missed 22-yard field goal. Lots to talk about. This is Inside Access here in OC Sports. Final score from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Lobos 1-up on the Rainbow Warriors, 28-7. Awards handed out first thing Monday morning. Carlos Wiggins of New Mexico named Mountain West Conference Special Teams Player of the Week. And what an answer he had. A 100-yard kickoff return for touchdown right after Hawaii's 12-play, 75-yard drive that took up 7 minutes and 36 seconds off the clock. School record fifth kickoff return for touchdown for Wiggins, third one for 100 yards. Welcome to Inside Access. I'm Robert Kikaula with Nate Ilawa, Stephen Tsai, my broadcast partner Rich Miano. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hawaii should have won against New Mexico?
Yes, played extremely well in the first half. A little bit more conservative, didn't get the turnovers in the second half. Obviously that last drive, the missed field goal, but still deserved to win. These kids deserve to win because, Robert, this is 4 years now, going on 4 years. The seniors, guys like Ben Clark, guys like Lance Williams, deserve a winning season, deserve to go to a bowl game.
24-14 at halftime. Was your story written that Hawaii get to the road win?
No, because you never know. They're on the road. A lot of different things happen. But he's right. They played to win, and if he makes the field goal, it's a different game. And they did. Kind of probably what surprised a lot of people is they ran a ball control, time-consuming drive. 6 minutes, got in a really good position to win the game. And just when things are going bad, things go bad.
Are you saying no, because your boss might be watching?
Well, no, I don't do that
Okay,
because
just checking.
we had time, you know.
Were you thinking Hawaii was on its way to beating the Lobos?
Well, I mean, to answer your question, they could have. You know, they had put
Shoulda?
themselves in position to win. You know, I mean, there's another team out there that's also trying to pull that win as well. I thought they did what they needed to do. I mean, they were moving the ball on offense. They had some takeaways. You know, and past experiences on the road was a bit different. And they put themselves in position to take it, and unfortunately it didn't work.
Game time decision. Ikaika Woozie for Max Wittick. Wittick tried to go on the road in that final practice on Friday. Your thoughts about 11 at quarterback?
Well, pleasantly surprised. I mean, when you look at right here, he's running that little whip route to Dylan Colley. I thought he moved well in the pocket. I love the funnel screen by Isaiah Bernard. I liked his deep ball. I like the fact that he kept his eyes downfield when he scrambled because he could have picked up a first down on a couple opportunities. So overall, great quarterback rating first half. Not quite as successful in the second half, but I thought he played well enough to win.
Your thoughts, Nate, on Ikaika Woozie at quarterback? Changes the offense a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you see guys catching different routes. You know, I thought he did a real good job of, you know, the situation he was given. Is he Aaron Rodgers? No, but I thought he did better than what we have seen, especially on the road. Gave them opportunities to score, got them down the field, got into the red zone, even in field goal range. Just opportunities to put points on the board is always good.
And luckily for Hawaii, for the coaching staff, for the program, Ikaika Woozie has a ton of starts under his belt from last season, so him getting a call to get ready to go, not that big of a challenge for
You know what
him.
I like too? I like the fact that he practiced with those guys the whole week.
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks. The real practicing where you're going against defensive guys. Wittick practiced on Thursday and Friday, but they weren't really going with the full defense. And I think he had that continuity, and that really showed, especially with Colley when he's improvising on
Yeah,
that play.
after the game, despite it being a loss, tough to talk for these kids, but Ikaika Woozie stopped by and talked about playing at quarterback again. Were you aware of where the line of scrimmage was?
Yeah, I was. Obviously, you know, we kind of have that, I guess, awareness as a quarterback, kind of know when to let it go. And I knew if I took another step, I probably would have been over the line. So just try to get out there as far as possible. You know, I seen Dylan running one-on-one with the guy, so I just tried to put it out there in the vicinity and went up there and made a great catch. Probably could have ran for it and got the first down, but you know, I just seen that matchup and just trying to get it out there. And yeah, Dylan made a great catch.
Athletic ability, he can extend plays sometimes. Ikaika Woozie, 13 of 25, 195 yards. The touchdown did have 2 interceptions, but next man up, Max Wittick was injured. 11 got the call. 11 says he was ready. How about Hawaii running back Paul Harris? He showed some attack, some explosiveness.
Yeah, and as you can see, he's running the ball a lot harder. Good, proper pad level. He's not indecisive. He's hitting the holes, and what that does is it helps Ikai Kawuzi or whoever is at quarterback. It keeps defenses honest.
I think during the game, Rich, you were saying because of his running style and because of what they got out of Stephen Lakalaka as well, that defense had to change up the way they play, and it made it for easier pass routes to be run by the receiving corps because of effort like that.
There's no question. The run set up the pass. I like the fact that they came out in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. I like the fact that the running backs both ran hard, ran downhill, and that allowed them to exploit a 6 or a 7-man box. Therefore, you had man-to-man coverage on the outside, and more importantly, on Dylan Collie. It was basically his ability to beat the nickelback one-on-one, and he did a nice job.
Okay, so Paul Harris, 24 carries. You saw the graphic, 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. You had missed the last game because of injury. How are you feeling tonight after you were attacking early in this game?
All right, I felt good, but I really don't want to talk about me because it's really about the team. I felt great coming back, though, and the team did great in the first half. Just the second half, we just couldn't get it done.
What was it like after the game in the locker room?
It's a loss. We should have won the game, so everybody's kind of like sinking in the loss right now. But we're ready to come back Monday and ready to come to work, ready to make something happen because the season's not over with. We can still make it to a bowl game, so that's the goal right now.
He did well, did Paul Harris. Dylan Collie, 7 receptions, 113 yards, his first trip into the end zone as a college football player. After the game, you can see or feel emotion through social media by the players themselves. On Twitter, you see guys like Julian Jenner says he's hurting heavy. Guys like Kyle Gifford also on Twitter. That one hurt, he says. Quinton Pedroza, also because of injury, could not go and says thinking about that game at New Mexico made him sick to his stomach. And Russell Williams, at linebacker, knows this was a tough loss and says that this team will be back next week. And we will be back. We'll talk some defense on Inside Access here in OC Sports.
Inside Access on OC Sports is sponsored by Strong.
And he missed it. And a flag has been thrown. Rico Sanchez missed a gimme from 22 yards.
I'm going to go on record, and hopefully there was some jumping over the center's head.
There is no foul for leaping. The field goal was no good. Change of possession, first down, New Mexico at the 20-yard line.
Welcome back to Inside Access here in OC Sports. You said it. Yeah. You saw it. Yeah. You were there. Did you see it?
I saw it.
You watched it. Did you see it? Did that guy, a defender for New Mexico, not jump over Hawaii long snapper Brody Nakama? It's against the rules.
The 2 specifics of the rules is, one is you cannot be further than 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. The second is you cannot land on the center. In both cases, that happened. Therefore, they should not have picked up the flag. Nothing would have been conclusive enough to overturn this call.
Now look at the arrow. Look at the arrow.
Exactly. I mean, right there, there's 62. There's the leap, and he is not a lineman. He did not jump straight up. Penalty.
And not only did he jump over the center and land on Brody Nakama's head, he pushed off on the back of his shoulder.
Which you can't do.
He catapulted.
Yes.
It's against the rule. He threw a flag.
Well, that means somebody saw it, right?
Somebody saw something.
It fell off, off his belt or whatever. But yeah, he did fall and throw a flag.
But what did you say on the air? What ensued after that was a huddle.
It was a huddle.
Talking about where they're going to go for dinner. Let's let the home team win this game and get out of here.
Well, things do close early in Albuquerque, so you have to make plans.
Were you thinking, there's no way that's not a penalty?
Yeah, and you know, from my past experiences, I mean, not a penalty?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I thought it was. You know, I mean, we've had that experience before in games with, let's say, Boise, where they were all over our center.
Boise gets calls like that at home, too?
Oh,
really?
Yes, they do. But, you know, what the thing is, you know, the rule is you can't have contact with the long snap, with the snapper, and there was.
And it wasn't.
Obviously, somebody threw it, so I mean.
See, here's my thing, and I don't want to bag on the officials, but it wasn't just a little bit of contact with Brody Nakama. He went over his helmet, back of his head. It was brutal.
And it wasn't a bang-bang type of play. That thing was a developing personal foul, and it was clearly stated on the video. Somebody saw that, how those other guys overturned the person who threw the flag originally. I would like to know that conversation.
Somebody saw something, somebody threw a flag, got talked out of it. Now, on their behalf, most of the game, officials made some pretty good calls. And Hawaii, in the Department of After Further Review, did get a couple of breaks. Lamar Jordan at quarterback, that would have been a first down had it not been for the replay to show his right knee was down. Hawaii gets to stop, gets the ball back on downs. They get the benefit of the replay. Also in that game, they got the benefit of this replay. Danny Mulonga causing a fumble, Mayo for Hawaii recovers it. I didn't think Hawaii would get this because that's a lot to overturn.
And there's 150 approximate plays in the football game, and I thought the officials had it under control, and we talked about it. Get it right at all costs, because there's millions of dollars and people's jobs on the line in college football as well as the National Football League. They're not perfect. They got it wrong, but as we talked about in the break, you still got to make that field goal. You still got to win the football game, and you can't blame the referees, you can't blame the kicker. This is the big picture. Win the game on the field.
Millions of dollars. This is New Mexico, Hawaii, by the way.
The one that got me was
they both have $33 million budgets, by the way.
Fumble caused by Mulonga. I didn't think it would go Hawaii's way because the review had to overturn an incompletion call, then call it a completion, take a step after the completion as a football play, say fumble, Hawaii recovers fumble, and we're to spot it. I didn't think Hawaii would get that.
No, but I think the officials said, well, we've done enough to help Hawaii, so let's let the last one go. But, you know, they got helped on one of them. I think there was one of them where Mefi Kolomatangi got hurt, and because of that, they were able to review a play, too, so they gave him some time.
So we don't want
Good job, Mefi. Good job, Mefi.
So we don't want to sit here and just bag on the guys wearing black and white.
Not at all.
But it was a bad call, the one on the missed 22-yard field. I'm just saying. Stuck defense. Early. 24-14, Hawaii builds a lead. I'm thinking it's tough for a triple option team to come back 10 points down.
And that's the scenario you want to build, you know, as UH's defense. You want to get ahead. That way they are forced to do something that they're not accustomed to, which is airing the ball out. And I thought they did an okay job. I wouldn't say that Hawaii throughout the game was shutting down the triple option. But what it does is it forces them to do other things if they're not successful right away. So a 10-point lead, I thought, you know, it's a good, you know, a good cushion, but you got to do more.
Early on, one guy that came to play, who else? 90. Kennedy Tuli Marcelli. First half, you guys had him on the ropes. What was going on in that first half?
What was going on is just what Hawaii Warrior defense was all about. You know, we just come out hard and just try and punch them in the mouth the first half.
You can be disruptive.
I try.
You get back there, you blow up the fullback, cause the fumble, and recover the fumble.
Oh yeah. I actually landed on the fumble, so that was actually a good thing. You know, not it rolling away and someone else, you know, picking it up. So.
The final numbers, turnover battle, dead even, 2 each. Hawaii did get 10 points off the 2 turnovers, but the 220 yards rushing, a big plus. Both teams passed for 195 yards. 3 sacks by Hawaii to 1 for the Lobos, and both teams over 55% on third down. That's a big number for both teams.
Yeah, and sometimes statistics don't mean a whole lot, and these are even them out. But the thing that Tom Mason, the defensive coordinator for Hawaii, said was they made plays when they had to. And that is the story of this game. There's 5 or 6 plays, Robert, in every football game. Nate, you know this.
Oh, yeah.
Who makes the plays wins the football games, because these are evenly matched teams. And New Mexico won. Homecoming made the plays, especially at the end of the game.
Ever been caught on video doing something you didn't want to be caught doing? We got somebody who got caught doing something he's pretty good at, and everybody got to see the video. It's gone viral. Coming up next on Inside Access here in OC Sports. Welcome back to Inside Access here on OC Sports. Take a look here. The Mountain West Conference. The Mountain Division of the Mountain West Conference. Utah State, after a big weekend, defeating Boise State. Unbelievable by that defense. But it's gone crazy. If you look at it, and we changed over now to the West Division. Hawaii is the only Mountain West football team still without a conference win. Colorado State beat Air Force. Wyoming took out Nevada. It's crazy time right now in the Mountain West.
In the western side, there's parity, Robert, but at the same time...
Not good parity.
Not good parity.
No.
But very similar in terms of anyone is capable of winning on any night, but you have to execute. And the only other coaching cliche I'll say is preparation for execution, and Hawaii could win the rest, or they could lose every game.
We sat down with New Mexico head coach Bob Davie, and I think what he said rings true for a lot of teams in the Mountain West. He said about the Lobos, we are not yet good enough to make minor mistakes. They can't get away with them. A lot of teams in the West. And we can't get away with having an episode of Inside Access without taking a look through Sai's eyes. What you got for us this week? 2020 vision?
Well, I don't know if we start off. Do we start off with
We're going to start off with
a little party there?
Look at that. That's how the week started.
Yeah.
That's the dance revolution.
That's when you knew Ikaika was going to be okay. Look how high he jumped.
Look at 74, though. 74 has become an internet sensation in R.J. Hollis. You got dance moves better than that, Nate?
The whip and the nene.
No, I had terrible shoulders in college, so this could not be me.
That's a big boy.
Oh, yeah.
He started the season getting attention because of dance moves against Colorado. Remember that? And they call out the soccer team before Hawaii heads on the road to play the Lobos.
Who was that gray fox there dancing?
I think I danced like Norm, not very well, but great that they had fun, Robert.
I saw Steven do the washing machine on a dance floor
Okay,
once.
so Ferd said, let's go to a Mexican restaurant. And we didn't know it was that kind of restaurant. And this is how much of a dorks we are. We were looking at our food and did not notice the scantily clad personnel in there.
This is Steven and Ferd dinner one night and had no idea where they were.
Across the street from the team hotel.
Yeah, right. We're going to believe that story. Game day. That's how every game day starts. Here and on the road.
Right. They're doing the walk, and what they do is they go early in the morning, and they greet the captains, and they shake hands, and it's a bonding experience.
And then when you get to the game,
best press box
this
ever.
Is what Steven Size like all happy about.
Best press box ever. And you know, of course, we support the pink, but yeah, the other silvers. That's apparently for everybody.
There's adult beverages at University Stadium in Albuquerque.
We all felt like drinking after the game.
And then you saw 74 dancing before the game. He's all happy because he was not expecting to see his mom.
His mother showed up, and she, of course, probably got a T-shirt from another place.
Is that where she was hoping her son went to school?
But the funny thing is, I think you caught guys on cameras during one of the timeouts. She was dancing in the stands too.
Yeah, so now we know where R.J. Hollis gets the dance moves from.
There she is.
That is mom.
That's genetic.
That's genetic. Look at her. She got some dance groove. Mom got some swag. She was enjoying herself. Hey, you know where that was, right? That was settled right in between the Sandia and the Manzano Mountains. You know that, right?
Wait. Watermelon, apple.
Sandia's
Where's the
watermelon,
pineapple?
and we were the pineapples.
There you go. Fruit
Manzano
salad.
was the apple. We learned. It wasn't just a football game. It was an educational
Well,
trip.
I've learned to Yelp before I go to any restaurant with Ferd.
Yeah, with Ferd.
Wow.
Joining us on Inside Access, Hawaii head coach Nom Chow. That opening drive, that may have been the biggest statement-making offensive drive this season by that unit.
Well, you know, New Mexico's a good football team. Everybody who plays good, but they weren't like the ones we played previous. And we knew that we could get after a little bit. We wanted to get after a little bit. The players responded very well. It was nice to see. It really was nice to see.
You see the face on that kid, Rigo Sanchez. He beat his personal best twice in this game. He had a 49-yarder. He had a 47-yarder. Having a career day. He just missed it from 22, but the look on his face was painful, wasn't it?
I love that young man. I honestly love that young man. He felt so badly after the game. He gave me a big hug and took the blame. It wasn't his fault. I mean, you know, never one play that doesn't define a football game, but you know, to know that young man and to feel how badly he felt. You know, he kicked off the first one, didn't do it like he should have there. Kicked off the rest of the way, punted the rest of the way. I love that young guy, and he'll come back. He missed it badly. His foot hit the dirt before it hit the ball.
I mean, he had a career day going on. Now, they get the ball back, does New Mexico. They bring in their backup quarterback. Nobody expected him to go 6 of 10, 70 yards, and throw his first touchdown pass.
That was hard because, you know, Tom and I talked about it after. Tom felt very, very badly about what happened. You know, should we have blitzed him? We did some. You know, we weren't sure how accurate he was going to be, so we started to play a little pass defense and maybe should have blitzed more. But that's easy to say on a Sunday morning. And that's what I'm sure that the people that are critical will say. But at that time, Tom was not sure how accurate that young man was. And there were a couple times when we should have made plays. We really should have. But that was tough to see. It really was.
Would you rather have a 9-to-5 job?
I might be looking for one. You got one?
Coach, good luck in Reno this week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Each week on Inside Access, we talk fantasy football with our fantasy guru here at OC Sports, Derek Honma. Joins us each week from parts unknown. We have no idea where he talks to us from. Studs, duds, waiver wires, surprises. What's up this week, Derek?
What an amazing week. I think fantasy just exploded. I think points everywhere. And for our studs, we're going to have to go into two. Matthew Stafford and DeAndre Hopkins. I think let's take a look at Matthew Stafford. Whoa, welcome back. A week after getting benched, Stafford stepped up against the questionable Bears defense and absolutely lit it up. 27-42, 405 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 33 fantasy points. I mean, he had a stretch with Denver, Seattle, and Arizona. So a lot of people didn't start him this past week, but I think don't like him against the Vikings, but a juicy Chiefs defense the week after, possible start, and DeAndre Hopkins, absolute monster. Target hog, getting 15 targets, 10 receptions, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns, 26 fantasy points. I mean, the argument can be made, number 1 fantasy option. Julio Jones struggling with injuries, Antonio Brown, no Big Ben. Hopkins must start, foolproof.
On the bench, busts, duds this week.
We got a meme. We got a fun meme here, and we did. We found the only guy to shut down Antonio Brown. I mean,
you know, memes are funny, but sometimes they're so full of hate.
Yeah, Antonio Brown and Eddie Lacy on our dud list this week, and Brown 3 receptions, 24 yards, no touchdowns, 2 fantasy points. I mean, struggling with no Big Ben. 11 receptions, 111 yards over that stretch. We need Big Ben back big time. And if he does, the possibility, long shot, he could play this weekend against Kansas City. And if he does, you will hear collective cheers across the fantasy world. And Eddie Lacy, wow, we thought if this is the get-right game, this would be it. The lowly San Diego Charger defense, Lacy did not step up. 4 rushes, 3 yards, 1 fantasy point. Stark stepped in and lit up the Chargers, and if you're a Lacy owner, you're worried. 2 guys that welcome back, Martavis Bryant and Alshon Jeffrey, 6 receptions, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns for Bryant, 25 fantasy points. Did it with Landry Jones at the quarterback position, and Alshon Jeffrey, coming back from that hamstring injury, lit up the Lions defense, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, 20 fantasy points. And Lamar Miller. I mean, out Joe Philman in Dan the Man Campbell with the Oklahoma drill. And I believe tug of war they did this past week, and it paid off. He said he's going to get back to the run game, and Lamar Miller showed up. 113 yards rushing. If he can average between that 17 to 20 touches a game, you look for big things from Lamar Miller, RB1 status, possible, higher end. We'll see.
So Antonio Brown struggling, Martavis Bryant steps up, Eddie Lacy struggling. Is it good to pick up his backup?
I think we're going to have to see. I mean, James Starks, I think, is a quality handcuff for Eddie Lacy, and if you have him, you have to have Starks, but it all depends. I mean, McCarthy came on this morning and said it's going to be a hot hand approach, and that's those three letters we don't like to hear is RBC, running back by committee, and that's not a good thing if you're an owner for Lacy or Starks. You're just not going to know when to start either of them. So definitely a question mark, but a definite handcuff if you have Lacy. Stephon Diggs, not a lot of guys are talking about him, but 4% ownership. Stepping up for Charles Johnson, and he is the guy that we thought Charles Johnson would be at the beginning of the season. 7 receptions, 129 yards receiving, 12 fantasy points, leading the team in targets over the past couple games. So a guy that you can look for to target on the wide receiver area.
Maybe the most talked about subject from Sunday in the NFL, probably one because it's Hawaii, is the shot Marcus Mariota took to the knee, but across the country, nobody's talking more about anything, what do you call it? Maybe the craziest, stupidest, dumbest play ever in the NFL?
And it's making waves on Twitter, and we found a great video on YouTube, and we want to kind of show it now. And for those guys, the throwback to the old Tecmo Bowl status, let's take a look at it, and just the sounds, and just enjoy Tecmo Bowl. And they recreated the basic play, you know.
And we're talking a fake in special teams by the Indianapolis Colts, and their game, a fake punt, against the Patriots.
The shift to the right and the snap, and yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. They put 9 to the right side of the field, and then Griff Whaley, who's a receiver, goes over the ball as the center to Colt Anderson, Brandon Bolden, and Logan Ryan get to him. I mean, seriously, they made the call, and somebody had to say, Coach, really? Do you really want to run that play? And he said, yes, let's run that play. That was a horrible idea. Turnover on downs, and we got to say, whoever did that cartoon on social media should be ashamed of yourself. Tecmo Bowl is one of the greatest video games ever.
Wonderful.
Don't mess with Tecmo Bowl, and don't mess with Derek Hornwell in the world of fantasy football. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, Robert.
Let's get ready to go. Sponsored by Supercuts.
Up next, are you ready to go? Hawaii back on the road to take on the Wolfpack of Nevada. They are 3-4 this season, 1-2 in the Mountain West Conference off a loss 28-21 to Wyoming. Head coach Brian Polian, offensive coordinator, former UH quarterback, former UH offensive coordinator, and Nick Rolovich. It's not been a good run against the Wolfpack for the Rainbow Warriors. Let us take a flashback real quick like 2012, Aloha Stadium. Wolfpack defeats Hawaii 69-24. That's Khalid Wooten, 78-yard INT for touchdown. Can you not forget Stephon Jefferson, running back, had 7 rushing touchdowns. 2013, Brock Hecking, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. They beat Hawaii again, 31-9. 2014 did not get much better, 26-18, and the center, Matt Gallis, off a deflection with a touchdown reception. It's been that kind of a matchup. A guy gets 7 touchdowns rushing, the center gets a touchdown pass, but there's no quarterback, there's no long 49er guy. Kaepernick is gone. Corey can't catch him in the end zone. Hawaii needs one of those moments against Nevada.
They do, and the thing is, it being on the road, you know, there's going to be a lot of emphasis this week on buckling down and focusing on that. And what they need to do is just make sure whatever they come out with, they got to start off fast.
Corey Paredes catches Kaepernick in the end zone. Hawaii needs one of those plays.
And Richard Torres had a great interception.
Yeah.
That was their only loss that season. They were 13-1, Robert. But I'm going back to 2007. I'm going back to Dan Kelly, the Iceman.
Oh. And that the game where he ran into the stands and kissed his girlfriend afterwards?
Yes.
Hawaii needs a moment.
Who became his wife, and now her name is Kelly, right?
You know way too many personal things about players.
So she's Kelly Kelly?
She's Kelly Kelly.
See, the two of you, I got to separate the two of you. Your thoughts, Hawaii against Nevada?
I think it's a tough one. Again, you're going up. Now, they didn't have any problems in altitude this past week, but again, it's kind of strange up there. It's a 1 o'clock game, so it's not too bad. They've been playing some cold games up there, but again, that's a tough offense to face. It's not the pistol. It's not the run shoot. It's, I don't know. It's a shooting pistol. It's something like that. It's just this hybrid. It's
the revenge of Nick Rolovich. That guy wants to win this game, and we've got to stop the pistol.
It is. I have to ask you a question, Stephen. That picture of you and Ferd,
yes,
eating dinner. How are you going to expense? How are you going to expense report that?
Being at McDonald's?
Ethics.
Is that what you're saying? McDonald's? We'll just say Donovan paid for it.
For Rich Miano, for Stephen Tsai, for Nate Ilawa, I want to thank head coach Norm Chow for joining us. For our entire crew, thank you for watching Inside Access here on OC Sports.
Wow, that was a tough one in Albuquerque this past weekend, huh?
Aside from how the game ended, how was the land of enchantment?
Except for that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
Bank of Hawaii is proud to sponsor this program. But seriously.
Despite losing its first 3 road games without a single point, the Rainbow Warrior football team suffered what had to be its most painful loss by a single point this past Saturday. Off the mark. Unfortunately, we start where things started to go awry for Hawaii, up 27-21, and Rigoberto Sanchez missed what could be characterized as a chip shot, at least by his standards, from the right hash. Missed it left, a 22-yarder that goes wide left after he had hit a 49-yarder and a 47-yarder earlier in the game. Now, there was a penalty flag initially thrown because the officials were going to say that one of the New Mexico players jumped the center on the snap. After a long discussion between the officiating crew, they decided to pick up the flag. What were your impressions of that unfortunate miss for Sanchez and whether or not a penalty should have been called?
First off, I just thought it was really tough on Rigo Sanchez because he's been so good. In fact, he's been great. One of my candidates for MVP. Not only the nearly 45 yards per punt, but he's been fabulous. He was, I think, at that point 6 for 7 on the season and long ones. And that one, you know, you can start to question, should he have been centered in the field? It's tough on the shorter the kick, the harder the angle. And then the penalty flag picked up, which we have discovered is a little more complicated than it first appears, because the question is whether or not the defensive player that came down on the center, was he within a yard or beyond a yard? That's a determining factor. Second problem, it's not reviewable.
Yeah.
So you really had 3 guys playing 3 blind mice trying to decide what happened on that play.
You know, and talking about where he kicked it from, I mean, obviously hindsight 2020, and you can go back to say if he scored a touchdown, if Ikaika Woolsey on that rollout connected to Dakota Torres, let's say, for a touchdown, would we be talking about this? No, but it's a risk and reward kind of thing. A touchdown and a field goal meant the same thing at that point of the game. I don't understand why you don't continue to run the football, put that ball in the middle of the field, make that kick easier for Rigoberto, and then also, in doing that, you would either, one of 2 things, make New Mexico call their final timeout, and if they chose not to, burn 40 seconds off the clock for when they do get the ball back, whether you make or miss that field goal. I think you had an opportunity to hedge your bet a little bit as far as that kick goes, and they failed to do that.
Hey, look, Rigoberto Sanchez probably should have made that field goal. I bet you he does 9 times out of 10 if given that opportunity again. But at the same time, I agree with you. I don't think anybody did him any favors in setting him up on that field goal, and you just feel bad for the guy because he has been so good and was a reason why Hawaii was in that position to win that game in the first place. Super sub indeed. After the missed field goal, New Mexico gets the ball back and they insert the thrower of the quarterback stable, Austin Apodaca, who proceeded to take the Lobos 10 plays, 80 yards in 1:19 for the go-ahead score. He was 6 of 10 on the drive for 70 yards and the touchdown pass. How impressive was that, Bobby?
Well, he is, you call him the thrower. This guy signed out of high school with Washington State to play for Mike Leach. My only question is, what was he doing going to New Mexico? Wouldn't seem much of a fit. But he was great.
Yeah, one of the more impressive things I've seen, I think, this college football season, a guy who was basically, and this is what they do, right? This isn't anything out of the ordinary for them to put him in passing situations, but at the same time, standing on the sideline the entire game and it's put on his shoulders to win it, and he does it.
It's tough, and not too often do you have relief pitchers or relief quarterbacks in the game of football. I think University of Hawaii football fans saw it in the 80s and even the early 90s when you had Michael Carter and Ivan Jasper and Danny and Glover come in as far as, you know, what situation are you in and who do you need at quarterback? And that's exactly what New Mexico does, and they do it good. So impressive what this guy was able to do to come in that situation and win himself the game. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and just to be sure, it wasn't Danny Glover who played for UH, although that'd be a heck of a story. It was Rodney Glover. But I think there was a relation
nephew,
there.
Right?
I think it was a nephew, yeah. So, hey, you weren't that far off. All right, so if we start to look at maybe some of the positives that came out of that game at Albuquerque, the Hawaii offense for the first time on the road this year put up some points. In fact, 415 total yards, 220 on the ground, 232 passing. Keiko Woolsey, who started in place of the injured Max Wittek, 13 to 25 for 195 yards, a touchdown. Did have 2 interceptions, one of those, though, in desperation time. So Hawaii puts up 27, has an opportunity to win. What'd you think about it finding some offense away from Aloha Stadium?
I give a lot of credit to Keiko Woolsey for that. He was terrific. I mean, you look at his first half, he's 9 for 12. But the other thing was he was patient. He allowed some routes to develop. He took off when it was necessary to take off. I think what you have now is a quarterback situation.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's the obligatory discussion after backup plays well, like Keiko Woolsey did, because you mentioned, I mean, he postponed and prolonged plays. He was able to move the pocket. He made throws that was like, no, hey, heck of a throw.
Nice
and I think you're right. I think they were a little bit more patient offensively in terms of the play calling. Paul Harris and Stephen Lakalaka with 125 yards and 2 touchdowns and 83 yards respectively. So they did do some good things, Rob.
Yeah, I think it's a domino effect with Keiko Woolsey at quarterback as far as the defense has to worry about a lot more. And, you know, with Max Wittek at quarterback, you don't have to worry about him taking off. When they do the read option, you don't have to worry about him keeping it really, and it just keeps the defense a little bit more honest. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the running game picked up in this game with Keiko Woolsey at quarterback, and I don't think it's a coincidence that you saw more man coverage on receivers, one-on-one situations for Dylan Collie, for Isaiah Bernard, that you haven't really seen all season long, and it's because that secondary needs to cheat a little bit just in case Keiko Woolsey takes it and runs with it.
All right, so if you were the guy making the calls, who you go with? Max Wittek still a little banged up perhaps. Who would you start next week?
Well, it would certainly depend on the condition of Max Wittek. Not what I would do, but that's what I think they will go by, because I still think Norm Chow is sort of committed all in on Max Wittek. But I really love what Woolsey gives you.
Yeah, I think if you're asking me, I think Keiko Woolsey fits this offense better. But I agree with you where Max Wittek isn't going to lose the job to injury, so to speak, with Norm Chow and his staff. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
And at least at this point, they can be able to identify the fact that they may have, at the very least, options at that position. Where did he come from? A lot of defensive coordinators going up against, or I should say offensive coordinators going up against the Hawaii defense have asked that question this year about Kennedy Tulimaseali'i. And in the first quarter in Albuquerque, when New Mexico was threatening to go up a touchdown with the game tied at 7 near the goal line, Kennedy did it all by himself, disrupted everything on what was a read option. He actually got to the point of impact, forced the fumble, recovered it on his own. It was like he was back at Waianae all over again. How amazing a play was that?
Well, Kennedy at his best, he can do everything but get you a great deal on a used car. It's incredible what he accomplishes.
I wouldn't put that against him.
On the field. I mean, he is so explosively quick.